So in today's video, I am going to be reviewing a fantastic car. I actually really like this car, and this is a Gran Turismo exclusive car. This is the Greddy Fugu Z or Z car, and this car is not like a crazy fast car, but the nice thing about it, especially in the daily races, which is what I'm doing here, is the fact that it's the lightest car that you can use in this daily race. For one, it's not the most powerful, but it is the lightest, and it's actually, in my opinion, the best car out of the three that they give you to choose in this week's race, daily race, or in that day's daily race anyways. And I really like it. So it is super light. It's 2,700 pounds. It's got less horsepower than the other cars that they allow you to use, but you can pick up some crazy lap times for the type of level of car this really is. And as you can see here, this is my best lap before my actual daily race, and I did pretty well. There were a few people who did do better on the times, but I think I didn't do all that bad. Now, the nice thing with this car is the handling. The handling is really nice. So there's a few things that you should keep in mind with this car. Number one, because it seems like a rear-wheel drive, or at least it locks up the rear wheels when you try to brake around corners. I would definitely say brake hard into the corners, extremely hard, and then let off the brakes quickly and floor the gas once you're halfway around the corners. Obviously, it differs depending on the corner, but as you can see here, I take a wider turn, mainly because I'm afraid of the first corner, especially when I'm at the front of the pack. Now, I don't have any crazy, I just hit the wall, but I don't have any crazy ranking that puts me higher up where there's better drivers. I'm not exactly battling against the best drivers of Gran Turismo. Now, I'm currently in third. Hopefully I can make up some of my time off of that second corner, and some of these drivers are really good and others are not so good. So I have now basically placed myself in third, get hit a little bit. Now, the penalty system in this game is kind of interesting because cars can hit you and they don't get penalties and you do, and it's just kind of a weird thing. Like Pugs there, he never got a penalty after hitting me, and yeah. But I got a penalty for cutting the track there, so whatever. He kind of knocked me out, but I'm not going to blame anything. That was my fault 100%. I'm going to take that. But this car, it's got some really nice handling because it is lighter. Anytime you have a lighter car, what's going to happen is it's going to be easier to fight around corners. If you've got a heavier car, you're going to need to slow down a lot more going into corners. Lighter cars, you don't have to slow down as much. Now, if you floor it through a corner, and like a long corner like that last past one, you start kind of doing oversteer or understeer, I mean, then you can just let off the gas. Now, one thing that I do notice in this car is if you get a penalty and you're going up to the penalty system, gear down, because when you come out of that, it's going to be much easier to catch up. So that's just something that I found out about this car after getting a couple of penalties in it. That guy just absolutely tried to dive bomb me, but Gran Turismo ghosted him. And that guy got ghosted as well. It's nice when Gran Turismo actually notices that there's a guy about to just absolutely demolish you and they ghost him. I like that. I know some people don't like it, but I kind of like it. It kind of saves my butt sometimes. So now I'm going to try and catch up on these two guys in front of me. I'm somehow still in third, which is, in my opinion, very nice. It's a very good position. I should be able to catch up to them, as long as I'll have to drive a little bit harder, but I should be able to catch up to them. Now, with the racing tires, they're the racing hard tires that they forced me to have on this car in this race. this car handles quite well going into corners and coming out of corners. You really want to be flooring the gas coming out of the corner, so keep that in mind. And I find that this car is actually really nice on drafting. When it comes to drafting cars, you can really catch up really quickly by drafting. So that is one thing about this car. Now, coming out of this corner, I was taking it a little bit harder than I should have, but I'm fine. I should be able to catch up to him once again. Now, the brakes in this car, like I was mentioning earlier, they do tend to lock up the rear brakes. So if you can smash it hard going into a corner and then accelerate hard coming out, let off the gas for a second so you can straighten out, then you're all set. If you've got any kind of traction control on, when you're coming out of a corner, try to exit as straight as possible. That way you can actually get full grip. Traction control tends to slow you down a little bit if you've got your steering wheel slightly turned. Now, I am using a Logitech G29. Of course, you can purchase one down in the description below. But I apparently didn't have my camera on recording this race with me using my Logitech G29. That's why you don't see it in the bottom left-hand corner. But the Logitech G29 with this car is actually a very good combination. Now, we've got 2 laps left going into this first corner of this lap, and I'm currently in 4th. I started in 2nd. I should be able to catch up quite easily, but I do tend to drive a little bit more riskier on my last lap, which sometimes hurts me and sometimes doesn't. It looks like that guy just absolutely tried to take out Pugs, but that didn't happen. Now, Pugs looks like a Canadian, but he's got the Canadian flag, so hopefully he can help me out and get me to where I need to be, which is 1st. Remembering always trying to touch that inside corner, flooring it out. If you start going too wide, you can let up off the gas with this car and it'll straighten yourself out. Now, a couple of things I've also noticed with this car is if you steer in just a bit too early, so you might want to steer just past that single pylon. If you steer just too early, then sometimes you'll come out a little too wide. Other times you won't, so it really does come down to your tires at that point. Now I'm going to try and battle this guy out. Somehow I didn't get a penalty for hitting him there. I'm sorry, Pugs, you are a fellow Canadian. But because he is behind me and it's my last lap, I'm going to try and really heat up this last corner, and we'll see if it works. It doesn't. I tend to go and do a little bit of understeer on this one, and it really messed me up for everything else going in the rest of this race. But this car, I would give it, for its class, definitely, I would give it a 9 out of 10 overall. Steering wise, I would give it an 8.5 to 9 out of 10 just because of its weight, its ease ability to get around corners. As long as you're really driving it right and you're really not trying to heat it up around the corners, you're generally pretty good with this car. When it comes to acceleration after crashing, I would give it an 8. It's not the best, it's not the worst. When you do, you will find that when you do get near the last lap, your tires will not be able to grip as good as they used to. So keep that in mind. But anyways, that is my review of this car. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys again next time. I end up in 5th. I should have ended up in 2nd or 3rd if I didn't. If I didn't just absolutely choke my last lap. Anyways, I'll see you guys in my next video.